Bristol City may as well rebrand to MidTable FC, as in their last 5 seasons in the Championship they've finished 11th, 14th, 17th, 19th and 12th. They are the literal definition of MidTable FC. However, I've got a plan for Bristol City, as today we are going to jump into FC25, take charge of the Robins with the end goal of ultimately winning the Champions League trophy. But this rebuild is going to be slightly different. As Bristol City have been MidTable FC in recent years, we are only going to be able to sign players from mid-table clubs. Now, what actually classifies as a mid-table club? Well, it's a club who aren't in a relegation battle and also aren't competing for playoffs or Europe. So let's now jump into FC25 and rebuild Bristol City with mid-table players only. So this is the Bristol City team we have loaded into in FC25, and on paper this is not actually a bad team. However, it is looking very mid-table in terms of overalls in FC25. So there is definitely going to be some hard work to do in this rebuild. Now, first things first, I am not a fan of the current formation, as we don't have many good CDMs at the club, so we are going to be switching it up. And the formation we have decided on is a 4-2-3-1 flat with 2 central midfielders, meaning Knight and Bird are in their correct positions. Now, we've sorted out the formation that we want to use in this rebuild, and Bristol City do actually have some pretty talented players on their books, as Scott Twine is currently at the club, 24 years old, 72 rated, has that special something. This guy ripped it up in League One for MK Dons a few seasons ago. He's struggled since then. Hopefully we can help him refine that form. Mayulu looks like a really good striker, 21 years old, 68 rated. We're going to be keeping a keen eye on how he develops in the opening seasons. And the best player currently at the club is centre-back Rob Dickey, 28 years old, 72 rated, pretty solid championship level centre-back. However, I do feel like further down the line he is someone we're going to have to replace. And this is the starting 11 that we have picked for now. Mayulu is in the team, spearheading our attack. Hopefully he can develop loads this season. We have put McCrory in at right back, as I think he is the best right back option at the club. But this is how the team is looking heading into season 1 without any transfers. Now, speaking of transfers, Bristol City start off with £7 million in the bank, and I have to admit, boys, looking at that team on paper, only one position stands out to me, and that's right midfield. We have got to bring a right midfielder into the club in this window. However, boys, before we go spending any money, I've just clocked in our youth academy we have got 2 excellent up-and-coming players, and one of them just so happens to be a goalkeeper. Oscar Wells, 72 to 94 potential, 17 years old, 64 rated. He looks like a very promising goalkeeper. We're going to promote him straight to the senior team and send him out on loan. Hopefully, when he comes back from his loan, he's ready to be our first choice goalkeeper. And we're also going to be promoting Leonard Alain to our first team. He's got 76 to 94 potential, 17 years old, 64 rated, with quite a few play styles. He'll also go out on loan, and hopefully when he comes back, he'll be a key figure in our first team. And we are wasting no time at all in bringing a right midfielder to Bristol City. We've identified our primary target, Romain Esse of Millwall, who is actually joining Crystal Palace in real life. He is 19 years old, he's 70 rated, his stats are brilliant, and we're going to be paying anywhere from £3 to £4.1 million for Romain Esse, which is a fantastic deal. Now, Millwall at the time of recording currently sit 14th in the Championship, so they qualify as a mid-table club. So without further ado, let's make Romain Esse a Bristol City player. And Romain Esse signs for the club for £3.5 million, and this is a fantastic signing. However, after the signing of Esse, we're left with just £2 million in the bank, and we've got quite a few contracts to renew, and we need to bring some coaches in, so that'll be all of our business for season number 1. So just the one change to the starting 11, Esse is in on the right wing. I do think we've got a pretty decent squad on paper going into season number 1. I do think we're going to be mid-table. And I can't lie, boys, it completely slipped my mind, but the tactical vision we're going to use for this rebuild is actually the pressing tactical preset. I do think that pressing the opposition is the best way forward in Bristol City, so that's the way we're going to be playing. Now, before we progress on to the end of season number 1, we have had some outgoings. Harry Cornick has joined Sheffield United for 960 grand. Al Naismith has left the club for 890 grand, with Cashton on him before he retires. Bristol City legend Naki Wells has left the club for 540 grand. We have loaned out Ayman Benarous for 2 seasons to Coventry, and both of our young wonder kids have gone out on loan. Leonard Alain has joined Heidenheim for 2 seasons, and Oscar Wells has joined Antwerp for 2 seasons as well. I don't think there's anything else we can really do now in season number 1 other than simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, and hopefully Bristol City are not a mid-table side anymore. So we have arrived at the end of season number 1, boys, and Bristol City are no longer a mid-table side, as we have achieved a 6th place finish in the Championship, meaning we have secured a spot in the playoffs and a chance to play for a spot in the Premier League. We will be taking on Sheffield United, who finished 20 points better off than us, as they finished 3rd. Let's see how we got on. So in the semi-finals, we would beat Sheffield United 5-3 over 2 legs, beating them 5-2 away from home in the second leg, meaning we would take on Stoke City, who battered Watford 4-1 over 2 legs, and we we would unfortunately lose the tie on penalties to Stoke City. Absolutely heartbreaking way to lose a playoff final. We'll regroup and go again next season, and I'm sure we'll come back stronger. Now in the FA Cup we did make the 4th round, but unfortunately lost to Premier League side Brighton 4-2. So this is the team that made the Sky Bet Championship playoff final, and it's definitely looking very strong on paper. We've had substantial growth in every single position all across the pitch. O'Leary will remain in goal next season, as we've got a youth academy player out on loan, as we know, and he is going very nicely. I think going into season number 2, we're going to look to bring a new right back to the club to replace McCrory, as he's 27-year-old and will no longer grow. And if we do have any money remaining, we may look to bring a new centre back to the club, as Dickey and Atkinson have both stopped growing. Dickey's 29-year-old and 73 rated. Could be time to take him out of the starting 11, but it all depends on how much money we've actually got in season number 2. The main priority will be bringing a right back to the club. Now our star performer in season 1 was Scott Twine, who got 21 goals and 8 assists. We did say we wanted him to find that form he found at MK Dons in League 1 a few seasons ago, and he has definitely done that. So let's now get into season 2 and try and improve on losing in the playoff final, and the only way we improve is by actually getting promoted. So we've arrived in season number 2, and the board have been quite generous, as they've given us £13 million to improve our squad. And we've already identified in season number 2 we want to bring a new right back to the club, and we are going for a very ambitious move for Borussia Mönchengladbach right back Joe Scally. He's 22-year-old, 76 rated, has fantastic stats, can play all across the back line. But a deal for Scally would use up most of our transfer budget, as they're going to want anywhere from 7.3 to 9.7 million pounds for him. At the time of recording, Borussia Mönchengladbach currently sit 11th in the Bundesliga, qualifying as a mid-table team, meaning we can actually sign Scally, and he would be a huge upgrade in the right back slot. And Joe Scally does join the club for £8.5 million. I think this is a very good deal, and he's an excellent player. But however, we are now left with just £3 million in the bank. I'm going to have a look through the squad, see if there's anyone worth selling, but I personally think that could be our only signing of season number 2, but I do think it's a fantastic pickup for Bristol City, especially in the Championship. Now we have been busy in the transfer market, boys, and we have sold quite a lot of rotation players who just don't have futures at Bristol City. Zach Viner has left the club for £2 million. George Tanner has left the club for £1.5 million. Jamie Knight-Labelle has left the club for 400 grand. Joe Williams has left the club for 1.6 million. Elijah Morrison has left the club for 400 grand. Sam Bell has left the club for 1.5 million to Cardiff City, the traitor. And Marcus McGuane has joined Coventry City for 1.1 million. And this now means we have got £15 million in the bank to bring a centre back to the club, and this could be game changing for us this season. And with this £15 million, we are going to go for our second ambitious bid of the summer, as we are going to go for Leopold Querfeld of Union Berlin. He is 21-year-old, 75 rated, 6'3" with great stats. Very good potential in this year's game. We're going to be paying anywhere from 11.9 to 14.9 million pounds for him, and Union Berlin currently sit 12th in the Bundesliga table, meaning they do qualify as a mid-table side. I just hope we can get the finances right and make Querfeld a Bristol City player. And Querfeld signs for the club for 11.5 million pounds, and this is such a big signing, leaving us with 2 million pounds in the bank. So I'm happy to say our transfer window is definitely done, and no one else will be leaving the club. And with Scally and Querfeld added to the team, this will be the Bristol City team to take us into season number 2. It's looking very strong on paper. We've made 2 very big signings for championship level football, and I genuinely think we've built a team here who can definitely compete for automatic promotion to the Premier League. Now there'll be no more transfer business done in season number 2. All that's really left to do now is simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, and I think with the squad we've got and the money we have spent, we should be getting promoted to the Premier League this season. We have arrived at the end of season number 2, and what a season we have had, as we have won the Sky Bet Championship on 102 points, scoring 93 goals along the way, winning 31 of our games, meaning in just 2 seasons we have taken Bristol City from mid-table minnows to champions of the Championship, and in season 3 we are officially a Premier League side. In the FA Cup we would be drawn to Crystal Palace in the 3rd round, and they would beat us on penalties. Penalties really not showing in our favour on this rebuild so far. So this is the Bristol City team that has earned us promotion to the Premier League, and I have to say on paper it's a very well-rounded, very balanced squad with plenty of good players. You may notice that Alain has sneaked into the team in the left midfield position, as he's growing at a really rapid rate. He's got unbelievable potential. We had to get him straight in the team. Knight has had really good growth along with Querfeld and Esse, but going into season number 3 we definitely need to improve the left side of our defence, meaning a new left centre back and left back need to be acquired. And if we have any remaining funds, I think it's vital we bring a first choice goalkeeper into the club, which honestly might actually be our top priority, to be honest, as O'Leary is 29-year-old and 75 75 rated. We did send youth player Oscar Wells out on a 2-year loan, but he's only reached 69 rated, meaning he's not good enough to start in the Premier League. So a new goalkeeper is definitely on our shopping list, and I feel like if we can improve the left side of our defence and bring a goalkeeper in, we'll have a much better chance of staying in the Premier League. We do also have a very decent bench as well. No players under 70 rated, which is really decent heading into the first season in the Premier League. In terms of stats, it was Fally Mayulu's goals who helped get us to the Premier League, getting 25 goals and 4 assists. However, Jason Knight from midfield was absolutely fantastic. The guy got 24 goals and 13 assists and was by far our best player. So a fantastic season 2 is now in the history books. We need to get into season 3 and get Bristol City ready for Premier League football. So we have arrived in season number 3 and our first season in the Premier League with Bristol City, and we've got £41 million to spend. Now, this definitely isn't the strongest transfer budget we're ever going to get. We do need to bring a goalkeeper in as a matter of urgency, and I do think our second highest priority is going to be bringing a centre-back to the club just to solidify our back line. And we have wasted no time identifying the goalkeeper we want to bring to Bristol City. Mads Hermansson of Real Betis. He's 81 rated, 25-year-old, has fantastic stats and a few play styles, and he does fall into our price category as well, as we are going to be paying anywhere from 23.3 to 29.1 million pounds for him. And he is currently playing for Real Betis, who are currently sitting 10th in La Liga, meaning he qualifies as a mid-table player, so we can definitely make the signing. And Mads Hermansson is in for £23 million, and I do think this is a very good deal for us. However, we are now left with £16 million in the bank, so I think we may have to sell 1 or 2 players before we can bring a centre-back to the club. And before we bring a centre-back to the club, we have sold 4 first-team players to help recuperate some funds. Max O'Leary has headed over to League One, as we have sold him for £5 million. We've cashed in on academy graduate Oscar Wells. He has gone to Sunderland for £3 million. Yu Hirakawa has left the club for Norwich City for £1.8 million, and we have also sold veteran centre-back Rob Dickey to Leganés for £3.4 million, leaving us with £26 million to bring a new centre-back to the club. The centre-back we have identified to bring to Bristol City in this transfer window is Dean Huijsen of Bournemouth. He is 21 years old, he is 76 rated, really good stats, he's 6'5", he's a colossal centre-back, fits into our price range as we're going to be paying anywhere from 12.8 to 16 million pounds, signing from Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth are currently sitting 7th in the Premier League table, meaning Huijsen qualifies as a mid-table player, so we can definitely make the signing. And Huijsen signs for £14.5 million. I think this is a very good deal, and he's a very good player. Now, after the signing of Dean Huijsen, we're left with £12 million in the bank. However, we do need to bring some coaches in, and we do need to renew some contracts, so I don't actually think we've got enough cash in the bank to bring another signing to the club, so that is going to be our transfer window close. And that means that this will be the Bristol City team to take us into our first season in the Premier League. I think we've got a decent team on paper, already got 380 rated players in there, with a few players knocking on the door at 79 rated. We've got quite a young team as well, and I do expect to see a lot of development in season number 3, and I think we should be clear of relegation. And the bench is also looking decent as well. We do have plenty of options. So with our transfer window done, I don't think there's much more we can do other than simulate forward straight through to the end of season 3, and the goal for this season is literally just survival. So we have arrived at the end of season number 3, boys, and we have had an outstanding season, finishing 9th in the Premier League on 53 points. But the most impressive stat, we scored 76 goals in the Premier League this season, which is absolutely insane. We were definitely the league's entertainers, and we have definitely set some solid foundations to build on in season number 4. And lads, we would get all the way to the FA Cup final and lose 3-1 to Manchester City. No shame in losing to the best team in England, but come on, boys, absolutely heartbreaking to lose in the final. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season number 3, and the squad is now starting to look really strong. We have only got 4 players in our starting 11 who are below 80 rated, but players like Huijsen, Alain, will definitely reach 80 rated by the start of season number 4. And I think it's fairly obvious where we need to improve the team in season number 4. Bird and Pring both need replacing in our starting 11, especially Pring at left back. Now, I'm not too sure how much money the board are actually going to give us in season number 4, so our main priority will be a left back. I'm hoping we'll have enough funds to bring a centre mid and a left back in season number 4, and then we can start pushing towards trying to get into them European places. Now, in terms of stats, Fally Mayulu was fantastic, getting 25 goals and 3 assists. Scott Twine, absolutely excellent, getting 20 goals and 16 assists. He is showing to be a really good player in FC25. I think we really performed on the pitch in season number 3. We were excellent. Top half finish in an FA Cup final in just 3 seasons is absolutely fantastic. And with the right additions in season number 4, hopefully we can press on and maybe get European football. So we have arrived in season number 4, boys, and the board have only given us £28 million. What are they playing playing at. Now, without selling a key first team player, I don't think it's possible for us to bring a central midfielder into the club in this transfer window, as we've also got contracts to renew. So we will just be signing a left back in this window, and hopefully that's enough to push us on Champions League football. Now, we've had some excellent news, boys. We have won our pre-season tournament, adding £5 million to our transfer budget, and this is really going to help us out, as we have identified left back Tom Roth of West Ham United to bring to Bristol City. He is 22 years old, 80 rated, has fantastic stats and loads of play styles, but he is very costly, as we're going to be paying anywhere from 23 to 29.6 million pounds for him. Now, West Ham United are currently sitting 12th in the Premier League table, making them a mid-table side, and Roth qualifies as a mid-table player. And £26 million sees Tom Roth become a Bristol City player, and I'm really excited about the prospects of using him. However, we are now left with just £4 million in the bank, and with a lot of contracts to renew, that's definitely our transfer business done. Now, this transfer window has seen 3 players leave the club. Mark Sykes would not accept a new contract, so he has joined Sheffield United for £1.5 million, and the same can be said for Rob Atkinson. He would also not accept a new contract, and he has joined Ipswich Town for £4.1 million. And we have loaned out attacking midfielder Ayman Benarous to Stoke City on a 1-season loan, and that will round off our transfer window, boys. There'll be no one else joining the club or leaving the club until season 5, and that means this will be the Bristol City team to take us into season number 4. We've got a very, very strong team on paper. Everyone is above 80 rated besides Max Bird. However, he performed really well last season. We've got a young team that's constantly developing, and I do think we are in with a very good chance of European football in season number 4. So let's waste no further time and simulate forward straight through to the end of the season and see if we can in fact qualify for any European competition. So we have arrived at the end of season number 4, boys, and in just 4 seasons we have taken Bristol City from mid-table in the Championship to the Champions League, as we have finished 3rd in the Premier League. And oh my god, this team can score goals. We scored 91 goals this season, which is just an absolute joke. Has got to be close to a Premier League record. 71 points accumulated. Really unlucky not to actually win the league. 4 points off winning the league. However, our performance in the FA Cup was really poor, getting knocked out in the 3rd round by Nottingham Forest 2-1. So this is the Bristol City team at the end of season number 4, and it is starting to look very strong on paper. Only Max Bird is below 80 rated, and he will definitely be getting replaced in season number 5. The rest of the squad though looks so strong. Literally got world-class players in our team like Mayulu, Esse, Knight, Werfeld. The squad is just brilliant, boys, honestly. We've actually got quite a strong bench as well. This team, you know, really has surprised me. Now, going into season 5, I've already said, as we know, we are going to invest. So going into season 5, as we know, we are going to be investing pretty much all of our money in bringing a central midfielder to the club, and I have got the perfect man. If there's any Bristol City fans watching this, you're going to love this signing I'm going to make. But before we get into season number 5, we need to check the stats, and Fally Mayulu was fantastic, getting 34 goals and 8 assists. Knight chipped in with 20 goals from midfield, which is insane. Wine got 11 goals, Max Bird got 10, Esse got 9. Really good attacking team here at Bristol City, proven by the fact we've scored 91 goals. So season 4 was a roaring success. We just need to start adding some trophies to our trophy cabinet and start getting the squad ready to play in the Champions League. So we have arrived in season number 5, and the board have given us 84 million to improve the squad. And as we know, we are in for a central midfielder in this transfer window, and there's only one man I've got my eyes on. Bristol City Academy graduate Alex Scott, who is currently playing for Stuttgart. He is 84 rated, 24-year-old, fantastic stats, 3-star, and he's very affordable as well, as we're going to be paying anywhere from 45 to 56 million pounds from him. There was no way I couldn't bring this man back to Bristol City in this rebuild. Stuttgart currently sit 8th in the Bundesliga table in real life, meaning they definitely qualify as a mid-table side, and we are authorised to make Alex Scott once again a Robin. And Alex Scott returns to Ashton Gate for £48 million, and I'm so happy with this signing. Now, we do still have £33 million in the bank, and looking at our bench, I do definitely think we need to bring a better backup striker into the club than Sinclair Armstrong, so we're going to use our remaining money to bring a backup striker in, then we'll be ready to take on the Champions League. And we have found the man we want to bring to Ashton Gate to be backup Mayulu, and that is Alejo Velis of Tottenham Hotspur. He's 24-year-old, 81 rated, really decent stats, very affordable as well, as we're going to be paying anywhere from 20 to 25 million, as his contract is expiring in 11 months time. And Tottenham, surprisingly, currently sit 13th in the Premier League in real life, meaning they currently qualify as a mid-table side, so we can make this signing. And Velis joins the club for 22 million, and I think he'll be a very solid backup striker for us. And this now means we've got £8 million left in the bank, and with no further don't go in as expected, that's going to be our transfer window finish. Now this season we will be debuting in the Champions League, and some of our standout fixtures of the league phase are Bayern Munich, PSG and Inter Milan, meaning we've got some pretty difficult fixtures and maybe a bit of a baptism of fire in the Champions League. I do think we've got enough in the squad though to get through the league phase. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season and see if we do. So we have arrived at the end of season number 5, boys, and we have actually managed to improve on a 3rd place finish, finishing 2nd in the Premier League on 75 points, and once again we have fired in the goals, scoring 87 league goals. That is absolutely crazy. This Bristol City team can definitely find the back of the net, that's undoubted. We just cannot seem to get going in the FA Cup, as we were knocked out by Tottenham Hotspur 3-2 in the 5th round. Now in our first season in the Champions League we could only make the playoff round, meaning we did advance through the league phase. We would draw AC Milan and they would beat us 4-2 over 2 legs. No real shame in that, as Milan are one of the strongest teams in the entire competition. But looking at the team on paper, it is very strong. The lowest rated players in the team are our fullbacks, 83 rated. We've actually got a really well balanced team in terms of overall, with Mayulu reaching 90 rated, Esse, Knight and Querfeld not far behind at all. So I definitely think if this team continues to develop and we add some quality to it, we could be a potential dark horse in the Premier League and Champions League next season. Our bench is looking okay. We do have plenty of options, but where do I want to actually improve this Bristol City team in season number 6? Well, I think it is time we bring a world-class centre attacking midfielder to the club and drop Scott Twine down to the bench. He's been an excellent servant to Bristol City, but I feel like if we can bring in an upgraded, younger centre attacking midfielder, we'll potentially have a better chance of winning the Premier League and going further in the Champions League. And another really high scoring season, as we do check the stats. Bali Mayulu was fantastic, 29 goals and 3 assists. Elaine is starting to add goals to his game, getting 18 goals. Scott in his debut season back at Bristol City got 12 goals and 11 assists. That's really good. So absolutely fantastic performance on the pitch in season number 5. We're building a really strong Bristol City team. Not bad when you consider every single player we've signed has been a mid-table player. So we've arrived in season 6 and we have got £92 million in the bank. And the centre attacking midfielder we're going for, wow, if we can pull this deal off, we are showing some serious ambition in season 6, as we've identified Harvey Elliott of Crystal Palace as our primary target. He's 26 years old, 86 rated, has fantastic attacking stats. However, it would use most of our transfer budget to bring him to Ashton Gate, anywhere from 74.9 to 93.6 million pounds. I'm going to try and get him for around 80 million pounds. And Crystal Palace in real life are currently sitting 14th in the Premier League table, meaning they qualify as a mid-table side, and we can definitely sign Harvey Elliott. And we have got our man, boys. Harvey Elliott joins Bristol City for 84 million. What a signing this is. Now, as we know, we have signed Harvey Elliott, but we have had 2 players leave the club who are pretty much deadwood. Josh Stokes has joined QPR for 1.5 million, and Hayden Roberts has joined Luton Town for 2 million. And we are now left with just 7 million pounds in the bank, so there'll be no more incomings at all in season 6, but I am very happy with the business we have done. So the transfer window is officially closed, and we've had a very successful one, if I do say so myself. The Champions League league phase fixtures have been announced, and our standout fixtures are Sevilla, Inter Milan and Bayer Leverkusen. So to be fair, we've actually had a pretty decent run of fixtures given to us by the FIFA gods. We just need to now get stuck in, get through the league phase and try and get as far as we can in this competition. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season and see how the Robins get on. So we've arrived at the end of season number 6, boys, and it's once again a 2nd place finish in the Premier League, finishing on 72 points. However, very surprisingly, we were not the league's top scorers, as we scored 74 goals. Arsenal actually scored 3 more than us, and that so far is the biggest surprise of this rebuild. But we would go on to win the Carabao Cup, boys, as we beat Manchester City 1-0 in the final, bringing a major trophy to the Robins. And could a 2nd major trophy be on the way, as we'll once again be taking on Manchester City, but this time in the Champions League final. We had an outstanding league phase, finishing 4th, winning 6 of our games and drawing 1 and losing 1, finishing on 19 points. In the round of 16, we would breeze past Villarreal, beating them 6-3 over 2 legs despite losing the 2nd leg. In the quarterfinals, we would have a very easy win over Juventus, beating them 5-1 over 2 legs, and we would do the same to AC Milan. We beat them 5-1 over 2 legs, getting revenge on them for knocking us out last season, set up a final with Manchester City. So this will be the Bristol City team to take us into the Champions League final, and it is looking extremely strong on paper. 4 90 rated players in the team with SA at 89 rated knocking on the door. That starting 11 is absolutely fantastic, and one of the best things about this team is it's unbelievably well balanced, as the lowest rated player in the starting 11 is 84 rated. So in terms of stats this season, it was actually Jason Knight who was our best player, getting 24 goals and 6 assists. Mayulu and Elliott would both score 20 goals as well, but Elliott actually got 20 assists, meaning he got 40 goal involvements. Some signing he turned out to be. So we have been absolutely excellent in season number 6. We just need to perform one last time in the Champions League final. Scott, Knight, Elaine could be in there. Got to use that pace. Come on, this has got to be a chance. Mayulu! Mayulu! Get in there! 87th minute! Mayulu makes it 1-0 to Bristol City with the game's only real chance. Wild scenes of celebration. Is that gonna be the winning goal in what's been the most drab Champions League final of all time? It's brilliant play by Elaine, shows great strength to shrug off his man and just cuts it across to Mayulu. Never gonna miss from there with the form he's been in this rebuild. Well, we're just gonna have to hold on for literally 3 minutes, boys, in game, and let's just make sure we don't let them have a chance. Come on, blow the whistle, ref. I played well over the ad time. We've done it, lads. We have won the Champions League with Bristol City. We have taken them from mid-table FC to Champions League winners using only mid-table signings. Probably the worst Champions League final we are ever going to play in terms of entertainment, but who cares, boys? We have won the Champions League. And all that's left to do, boys, is lift the Champions League trophy. Jason Knight will do the honours, and Bristol City are the champions of Europe. That is another rebuild successfully boxed off. So just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video, boys. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out. We're trying to get 5,000 subscribers on the channel, and I will see you next week for another rebuild.